Anyways, let me get into it.
Yes.
And then we'll talk about.
Yeah, we'll get into what's
Some other
actually
stuff.
happening.
I
can at least tell the intro.
There is an honest to God, and I know you can't see it, but this is like you can kind of see the graph. It like loops around itself. That's part of the graph that explains everything. So,
bro, you know what? You just reminded me of another time travel movie.
Yeah.
When you said loop, we could watch Looper.
Ugh.
You didn't like that one?
Ugh.
Okay. Never mind.
We'll discuss.
Maybe, I guess.
We'll discuss. All right. So, again, I'm going to read it off the Wikipedia article. This isn't. Usually we go with my loosely based recollection of things, but this one's just. You'll understand. Okay, so we got two engineers, Aaron and Abe.
Yep.
I believe Abe is the one that wants to turn the machine into time travel, and Aaron's the one that's like, it's for gravity.
Yeah, it's for fun.
It's for fun. Yeah. And he's like, I don't really care about time travel. And Abe's like, time travel.
Frothing at the mouth.
Pretty much. So the two engineers, Aaron and Abe, supplement their day jobs with entrepreneurial tech projects, working out of Aaron's garage.
As one does.
During one such research effort, including electromagnetic reduction of objects' weight, the gravity thing. I'm going to dumb this down as we're going because the movie's very smart. The guys are actual scientists, which is why it's really smart. But I'm going to dumb it down because it's, like Jarvis said, and I have also backed up, too smart.
Yeah. You need to.
Let me fix this weird hair thing happening so y'all aren't staring at it while I read. So, so while they're working on this electromagnetic reduction of objects weight machine, the anti-gravity machine, the two men accidentally discover an A to B causal loop side effect, which objects left in the weight-reducing field exhibit temporal anomalies. They discovered time travel, is basically what it's saying. Proceeding normally from time A, when the field was activated, to time B, when the field was turned off, then backwards, from B to A, in a continuously repeating sequence, such that objects can leave the field in the present or at some previous point. Basically, you put the thing in the machine. From the time that the machine is turned on to turned off, you can do stuff. And once the machine's turned off, it goes back to that time. So you stick a person into the machine, turn the machine on, the person's in the machine. Person's also not in the machine because once it's turned on, time like freezes, essentially. You can leave the machine, go do stuff. Yes, Schrodinger's cat. Thank you, Sybil. Schrodinger's cat. They are both like not in the time and in the time at the same time. While they're in the machine and they're frozen in the machine in time continues to go. That's the loop thing that they're talking about. And once they return, sit back in it, turn the machine off, time continues back from when they turned the machine on. That makes sense?
No. Yes. I mean, yes and no.
Yes and no is correct.
I think one of the things that they tried to explain to show that like weird time stuff was happening is that there was some algae or bacteria in there. Mm-hmm. And they took it and they said, "Hey, this has been accumulating for an hour or whatever. I forget what time measurement time they use." And the other scientists they show it to was like, "That's impossible. That's about several months worth of buildup. 5 or 6 months worth of buildup, something." And so they tried to explain it early on before they were putting their whole bodies into the thing. Whatever they were putting in there was accumulating bacteria or algae or something at an accelerated rate. And so that's how I feel about my knees, that they've been put in this box and are accelerating oddly faster than the rest of my body.
Time travel movies make Jarvis feel old is what we're learning today.
I mean, everything makes me feel old, especially my knees that are deteriorating.
You need a causal loop to fix your knees?
I need, to reset it back to like 10 years ago.
I'll start working on it.
All right.
In the garage.
Yeah. Wait, maybe we're already working on it.
Yeah.
Recording this.
Then I won't worry about it.
Yeah, then we shouldn't worry.
Yes. Oh, shoot. Okay, so hopefully that helps explain it a little bit better. Abe refines this proof of concept and builds a stable time apparatus, the box. He actually makes two, but they'll get to that, I'm sure. Sized to accommodate a human subject. Abe uses his box to travel 6 hours into his own past. As part of this process, Abe stays in the hotel room, isolating himself from anything outside as to not interact or interfere with the outside world, after which he enters the box and waits inside the box for 6 hours, thus going back in time for 6 hours. Once he exits the box, Abe travels across town, then explains the proceedings to Aaron and brings Aaron back to the self-storage facility housing the box. At the facility, they watch the earlier version of Abe enter the box. Abe and Aaron repeat Abe's 6-hour experiment multiple times over multiple days, making profitable same-day stock trades armed with foreknowledge of the market's performance. And then the duo's divergent personalities, Abe cautious and controlling, Aaron impulsive and meddlesome, put subtle strain on their collaboration and friendship. Aaron wants to continue to push the limits of the time thing, and Abe is like, maybe we should just not.
Yeah, I think he's kind of like, let's just keep making money, bro.
Yeah.
And I think
and Aaron's like, but we could do different things and see what happens, like a true scientist.
Right, yeah. He really wants to mess with things, and I feel I'm more aligned with other dude.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Abe.
Abe, who's just like, bro, let's just make money and like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which is, I feel like what anybody would do the first time that they learn about time travel is they'd be like, yeah, give me the numbers for the lottery.
Yeah, he wants to make like new timelines and stuff, and he wants to like, he really wants to push it, but he obviously has not seen like or read the Flashpoint from DC Comics, because
and this movie doesn't use timelines as a trope, because everything happens within their one timeline. Like, if there's another version of them, they're all there.
We don't know because it's so complicated.
That is what happens.
That could be, that could just be their perception, though. And
yeah. Additionally, their bodies start getting weird stuff happening. Like, one of their ears starts bleeding. And their days.
I think it's messing with the brains. And then also, I just want to just note that the way that he proves it to the guy after the first time he mentions it is they go to the spot and they just start watching themselves going into.
Yeah.
So they're basically have their own doppelgangers.
Yeah. And they don't know how many. But they don't know that yet. Spoilers for when I read 5 minutes later. And their days become
Time travel.
36 hours long, basically, because of the time that they're giving themselves for the box. And as the film progresses, the two men begin to notice alarming side effects, which take place, like their ear bleeding, and then their handwriting gets progressively worse as well. Their tension starts to come to a head after a late-night encounter with Thomas Granger, father to Abe's girlfriend, who appears inexplicably unshaven and exists in overlap with his original suburban self. Granger falls into a comatose state after being pursued by Aaron, and Aaron theorizes that at some point in the future, Granger enters the box with timeline-altering consequences. Abe concludes that the time travel is simply too dangerous and enters the secret second box, the failsafe box, which they didn't explain before, so I'll explain it now.
Yeah.
2 boxes were made. And I believe, yes, 2 boxes were made. Both do the exact same thing. Before they do absolutely anything else, and Abe starts talking about this time travel box that was made, he enters the first one, turns it on, and does not turn it off. So he's like, that's his fail-safe. If everything goes to shit, he gets back into that box, turns it off, everything resets, and they're good. At least that was the idea. Yeah. That's the idea.
Yeah.
So box 1 has Abe in it permanently. Box 2, they've been using for shenanigans.
And
up to this point.
And shenanigans continue to ensue.
Yeah, shenanigans continue to ensue. And let's be real, this probably wouldn't be a movie if the failsafe box worked. Which it does, just not as a failsafe to reset everything.
Yeah.
So Abe does go into the box, turns it off, and runs back the time 4 days to prevent everything from starting. Cumulative competing interference wreaks havoc upon the timeline. Future Abe sedates original Abe so that he never conducts the original experiment and meets original Abe back at the park bench as to dissuade himself, but finds that future Aaron got there first, armed with previous recordings of the past and an unobtrusive earpiece. So, to explain, Abe went back in time, kept himself from going into the experiment in the first place, and then tries to meet himself at a park bench where he's about to explain to Aaron from the beginning of the movie about the time travel. But Aaron's already there with a bunch of like recordings that he's listening to about the time travel experiments already having happened.
Yeah, so Aaron, I think, might actually be the smarter of the two.
Yeah.
Because he has all kinds of, actual fail safes that work.
Yeah.
And so he basically recorded the conversation, the original one, put it in his past self's ear, so that as life is happening, he's getting the original context and conversations
basically as it's happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so and it lets us hear it so that you can see that the things that he's saying, or that are being said to him or that he's experiencing, are not what was on the original recording.
Yeah.
In some cases it's the opposite. Sometimes it's just slightly different. Sometimes the conclusions end up being the same anyways. But so Aaron, I guess, was just like, well, I don't want this experiment to end. I want to keep doing the things, and I'm going to make sure
I already
it continues
stopped
to
it.
happen.
Yeah.
And Aaron was like, no, you didn't, because I am the superior intellect.
Yeah.
So I guess
that
makes you Aaron and me Abe.
Well,
because I'm just like more simple-minded. Like,
maybe
come on,
you're
bro,
right,
let's
though.
just
maybe it should stop.
let's just make money.
Yeah.
And you're just,
and that's a fair point.
And then you're just like, no, let's figure out how much we can mess with here.
Very accurate, by the way.
Yes, I agree.
The two men briefly and tentatively reconcile. I just want to point out, before I continue reading this, at this point in the story, before Abe goes to shut off the failsafe box, kind of easier to follow. As soon as that failsafe box turns off, I don't know. So I'm sure the explanation for this in the plot is not going to clear up anything.
Yeah, no. You're going to have to...
You are going to have to watch, because
you're going to have to watch
in the movie, you do feel like it ends like conclusively. And even if you don't like really understand what's going on, you're like, yeah, it's fine.
Oh, okay.
Oh, never mind. Jarvis disagrees. We'll watch it again, go back 24 hours and see if you agree,
I'll have to rewatch it another 2 more times.
So they reconcile, and they jointly go back in time, experiencing and reshaping an event where Abe's girlfriend was nearly killed by a gun-wielding party crasher. After many repetitions, Aaron, forearmed with knowledge of the party's events, stops the gunman, becoming a local hero. Which is kind of crazy. That their families and their family lives are also like a part of the story a lot, but not really. It's kind of just there to show like the time travel stuff affecting things more.
I think they could have done a little bit more showing the outskirts of like things changing.
Yeah.
That might have made things a little bit more easy to follow. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that. So Abe and Aaron ultimately part ways. Aaron considers his new life in foreign countries, where he can tamper more broadly for personal gain, where Abe states his intent to remain in town and dissuade possible sabotage to the original box experiment. Abe warns Aaron to leave and never return. Multiple Boxaware versions of Aaron circulate. At least one future Aaron has shared his knowledge with original Aaron via the voice recordings and such, and an unsuccessful physical altercation. Future Abe watches over original Abe, going to painstaking extremes to keep him unaware of the future. And Aaron directs French-speaking workers in a construction of a warehouse-sized box, kind of like leading to the fact that he's going to do larger experiments.
Yeah.
And a warehouse-sized one, at least.
Yeah. I mean...
That's it, by the way. That's where it ends.
Yeah.
On a cliffhanger, of all things.
Yeah, and there's no primer, too, to help answer any questions.
There was another movie he made, and I I'll be honest, I didn't watch it, so I don't know if it's supposed to be like a follow-up to Primer, but it's not stated like it is one. It also didn't get that much attention.
He's a one-hit wonder.
For sure. Sometimes there's movies that, like, that'll do that to you, you know?
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing. A lot of people make entire careers out of making movies that aren't as successful as their original ones.
Yeah. Happens all the time.
Yeah. But it's usually like in the pursuit of trying to make a better movie and not succeeding. There's a lot of people who do really well with it, like Tarantino.
Yeah.
Could have been a one-hit one. Some people would still consider that he's a one-hit wonder because of Pulp Fiction.
That I reject.
I agree with that because he's very good, makes very good movies.
Django Unchained.
You could also argue that Steven Spielberg is a one-hit wonder because of Jaws, which also wouldn't be true. But it is his most well-known film. And then you got this guy who made Primer.
Yeah, this guy's the most infamous, I think.
You got
Notion.
Most famous for my kinos out there, Orson Welles. Everybody who knows me just rolled their eyes simultaneously. But Orson Welles made what everyone considers to be all the cinema people, all of the kinos as they are
in the secret underground meetings.
Yeah, consider his movie Citizen Kane to be the best movie ever made.
Oh yeah, I've heard these legends.
Yeah, which it's like historically maybe as like an actual movie, definitely not. But also, like, he went on and did a whole thing with his career and never made another massively successful movie like that ever again.
Yeah.
And it happens. And I think that it's less to do with how good the movie is and more so with how the person reacts to their success. Just a hot take for y'all.
Yeah.
Hey. You look good over there.
Look real good.
Have you thought about sharing your kindness with others?
Share the love.
Maybe like the video. Click on that subscribe button. And show your friends.
Yeah, just touch it ever so lightly, that like button. Move over to the subscribe button. Maybe tap your keyboard just a little bit. Leave a comment. Bye.
That's it.